Mix biscuits. Hail, rain or snow both.
With access to a great natural larder, Arran is well known for its food and drink industry. In Blackwater Food, a bakery is proving to be the toast of the town. George, you're the best man in Arran to ask about dough.
We're going to be doing some work with sourdough, and here we've got some well-proved sourdoughs. These are ready to bake.
Whee, there we go.
That's excellent. Look at that. So I'm just going to take a single line like that.
I'm loving the look here that you've got. It's quite different. I'm disappointed in you, George. Where's your kilt?
Well, I forgot to wash it, so...
How long have you worked here then?
3 seasons, but I said almost 3 years.
Is this business like that, really seasonal?
Yeah, you get maybe 6 times the population that's normally here during the summer, and you get 6 times the traffic. That disappears again in November. I'm very lucky to have Sean and Megan in the bakery because they've been able to absorb some of those changes.
We're making some frangipane to fill croissants with tonight. We dust them with ice and sugar as well.
It's a very noisy process. So what's in the bowl just now then?
Currently we've got sugar, butter and some eggs in there. We're just about to add some almonds.
Open the lid of the sourdough
Oh
culture.
my goodness, look at that.
Now,
bubbling brew.
That is life in there. As you feed it, it will be perpetually alive. So some are hundreds of years old. This one's maybe 30 years old in the handling.
Really?
It's been nourished each day for that long. That should be it.
Oops.
There you go. That's starting to look less like flour and water and more like a dough.
You've travelled around the world and you worked for quite a while in Norway, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Whereabouts were you?
I was just north of Oslo in an area called Toten, which is a rural farming part of Norway. They've got a bit of a craft food scene, and as I was visiting my parents here on Arran, starting to sniff out the potential.
That's pretty.
Thought we'd use some seaweed as a kind of nod to surf and turf. We've got a nice earthy wholemeal loaf here, and if we incorporate some seaweed, which I gathered from the very beach,
Very local
it's
then.
as local as it can get. And then I've got a very special thing, the truffle of the sea. This is
Right.
dried pepper dulse. Just grab a handful of that and stick that over the top as well. So just press it in.
So this will be on the menu tomorrow then?
This will be a very special one tomorrow. I'm going to auction this one. Tell him that Sean made it. Chop it in half, open it up, get your face right in there. That's the experience.
Oh, it smells delicious.
That's good, right?
Uh-huh.
That's lovely. Bit of seaweed, it'll be better.
Not sure about that. If you come to the tiny village of Cattercall, it's difficult not to see these on the roadside here. This row of beautiful fishermen's cottages, and they're known as the 12 Apostles. The upper level windows are all slightly different. Now the thinking behind that was when the fishermen were out in the water, they could look back, and if the wives lit a candle in the window, they could identify which one of the wives was signalling to them. By James, can you imagine if she'd decided to go out for the evening? The hills to the south of Lochranza get about the same amount of rainfall as we get across much of the West Highlands. But in true Scottish style, we've learned to live with that and, well, even look at the benefits of it. And in this case, every rain cloud has a silver lining because it helps get us the perfect dram. James, a lot of people might think that Arran whisky is quite a new thing, setting up here in 1995, but it's got quite a fascinating history here in Ireland, hasn't it?
The history of whisky in the island goes back to many, many centuries. 1494 was the first record of making whisky. In the 1600s here, there was definitely records of whisky being made, but it was mostly made for medicinal purposes. I remember right about 1790 when the sort of first legal distillery in Arran was up and running. But about 120 years ago, that all disappeared, and basically there's been no distilling in Arran until 1995 when this distillery was built in Lochranza.
You're now producing 18-year-olds, even a 21-year-old now.
As a whisky company evolves, it's very important that you get to these ages because that's where the value is and that's where the return is for the company basically.
And you've just opened a new distillery up here in the island.
We have down the south side of the island. There's various reasons for that, and one of them is tourism, because we're finding that in the height of the summer, the distillery here is absolutely crowded. So we decided that we would build a proper distillery down there, and we would future-proof it as well, to build it a size that we could double production in 10-15 years' time.
You're now exporting across the world?
Yes, we're even in Australia and New Zealand. We're on the exact other side of the world.
So this is where all the magic happens then?
This is the production area, Sean. What we have here is the grist bin, and we mill 2.5 tons of grist, and then that is added to water into the mash tun. And what you're doing here is you're extracting the sugars out of the malted barley. We're at the stage where we're just going to get rid of the draft. Basically, that's what's left after we've done the extract. Right. First and second water comes over here into the fermentation vessel, the wash back. The third water goes on at very close to boiling point. So all we're doing with that is washing out the sugars that are left. And that goes right back into the brewing tank.
I was going to ask you about the sugar.
And it goes back into the grist for the next part.
This is the next part of the process.
This is where the fermentation takes place. So you get your first and second water going.
Blooming heck!
You get your yeast coming up there. Yeast attacks the sugar, and you get two things. You get alcohol and you get carbon dioxide. 72 hours of fermentation is complete, and then it goes to the next stage, which is the distillation.
Boiling here.
Very, very warm, isn't it? This is the first distillation. We've got two wash stills. We fill them at the same time. Distill them at the same time. They come in here about 53% strength. The second distillation is the one that's slightly more complicated, because in here we have the 4 shots from the previous distillation, we've got the no wines from this distillation, and we've got the paints from the previous distillation. We boil them up, the vapour rises up the still, hits the condenser, and then it turns into liquid. Alcohol boils before water, so basically you're driving all the alcohol up through the still and leaving the water in the base of the still.
And I've noticed the liquid that's coming out there is more like vodka, it's clear.
It's very clear.
So the colorisation comes from...
It comes from the cask. Cask colours the spirit.
Thanks for bringing me into your own personal bar here. You've
That's not
got a lot behind us here.
Yep.
We've got one here in front of us, so what's this that I'm going to be trying?
This is from the very first cask ever filled at Lochranza.
Really? The first one?
A bottle of this can go for a couple of £1,000.
So that's worth quite a lot. It's a better drop this then.
So we're talking about liquid gold here. I hope you enjoy it.
A pleasure being with you today, James.
No,
Sludgy bar.
Cheers.
That's really smooth.
It's very smooth, isn't it?
So how much for a bottle?
A couple of £1,000.
No, I don't know doing that one. Arran really is like taking Scotland and putting it in a neat wee package. It's no surprise that so many people have come here over the years and wanted a wee bit of it. The Vikings, the English during the Wars of Independence, and the hordes of tourists that would come here during the fair fortnights. And it's here that some say that Robert the Bruce came himself, battle weary, watched a spider in a cave making its web over and over again and returned to the mainland with a renewed vigour. I'm sure if you come here and weave your own web, you too will return with a renewed passion for your country. This is our beautiful Scotland. We'll see you again later.
Still to come tonight, we are heading back to Corrie next, then at 9 o'clock here on STV and the STV Player. It's Long Lost Family.